I'm about to start a 3-day tumble of copper and zinc pennies, and let's see what happens to them. This is the old Tumbler Model T that the belt has broken, and I stuck a rubber band on there, and it worked. I've ordered some more belts, but it says they're going to be early in December before they get here. So I'm just going to keep this in my office and run this hopefully for 3 days. I'll check on it real regularly to make sure that this rubber band hasn't broken. I got lots of rubber bands. A friend of mine gave me a bag of sand when I took him home the other day, and I'll use this instead of the big rocks this time. And I'll go ahead and use the coarse grit like I did the first time, but this time I'll run it for 3 days, and we'll see what we get. Better make sure the little tumbler is level. That's pretty close. I'm going to attempt to get this 3-day penny tumble started. I got 50 copper, 50 zinc. The copper weighed 155.6 gram. The zinc was 126.3 gram. 2 or 3 at least of these are pretty rough shape. They even have the side of it chewed off a little bit. So we'll see how that comes out in the end. 3 days we're going for. All right. I'm going to put in about another tablespoon, I guess, of the coarse grit. Without measuring it out, we'll just put a little bit in there. Quite a bit of sand. Pretty coarse sand. And just for the fun, 2 rocks. Now I'll go get some water. Get some water in there. This thing is close to 2/3 full. I hope it all works. We'll see. I'm going to turn it off and try to... Well, let me see. I don't think I can get this lid on with just one hand. I'll turn it off and get the lid on. Well, it's tumbling. We're going to let her go about 3 days. I'll come back and check it a few times a day just to make sure everything's going okay and to make sure that the rubber band ain't broken. Let's see what happens. Well, I checked it after 2 hours and it was doing fine, and then I came back after 4 hours and the rubber band had slipped off. Don't know what time in between there. So anyway, there's a couple of drops of water down there. So I thought, well, I'll just go ahead and take it apart. And I cleaned it up real good, and I put this, it's so old, I guess. I don't know, it probably needs a new rubber thing right here. Because I cleaned everything pretty good. I went over with a toothbrush and wiped it off. And then I put this back on, and it's just not holding. I'm going to try to clean it one more time and try it again. But I think I'll probably just have to go put it on my new one. And I don't know about this. This whole thing, it just may be too stretched out over the years. That's a bummer. I mean, the motor works, so I'll see about maybe getting a new barrel. I don't know. Bummer. Well, I cleaned it up really good and put the seal back on it. And I leaned it over the wrong way, I guess, because water just poured out of it. So I pulled it back off, cleaned it back up. I didn't even take it back apart again. I just held it differently when I put it on the tumbler, and now it's not leaking. So I'll just have to check it really regularly. I need new equipment. Well, I do have some new equipment. I just was hoping I could use this old thing. This part's not even turning. So I need more experience and just more know-how, but I'll get there. I replaced the rubber band 2 or 3 times. They just get funky and then they pop off. I've gone to 3 different locations looking for a belt or gasket that would work. I've got some ordered, but they ain't gonna come in till like mid-December. And so I just was hoping to finish this project And while I was gone, my wife found these hair things, and she put one on there, and it's working fantastic. I'm sure they won't last as long as the belts that I've ordered, but that's really cool. So I'm sure with what I got here, I can easily finish this project. It was supposed to be done Saturday at 4 p.m., but it's going to be more like Sunday now because I'm probably 14 hours behind, at least, I'd say. So I'll just go until Sunday, probably 1 o'clock, something like that. There we are, and we'll see what we have. Sunday afternoon has arrived, and it's time to turn these guys off and see what we have got. Look, it's dirty. I got this strainer just wedged up there with this log, so I hope I don't make a big mess. Finally gonna take a look at these pennies. I think that's all of them. Wow. Let me get these out of here, and I'm going to get them back into the house. Here's all of them spread out on this little towel, drying. On the zinc ones, I can see that on a lot of the edges, the copper's all gone, but it's still some left, but it started coming off. Look at this. It's almost all off of that one, a little bit on the back. Almost completely gone with this one. I don't know what was special about this one that the copper came off of it. I see it's getting really thin on a few of them. Even the copper ones have a different look than I expected them to have. I don't really know what I expected. Getting pretty thin on that one on the face, the copper. After these are good and dry, I'll weigh them. A lot of the edges on the zinc ones, it's off. Oh, it's starting to get pretty thin there. This was about 3 days. All the pennies have been dried now, but I have a problem. One of the zinc pennies turned into a copper penny. I don't know what I did wrong. There's only 49 of these and 51 of these. So I don't know if I had a copper one in the zinc bag. That's the only thing I can figure that I did. That's going to mess my weighing up, but I guess I'll see what happens if I weigh them. There's a huge difference in looking at them. I mean, all the copper ones look almost exactly the same. Nice and clean. Interesting color about them. It's certainly not a polished look by any means. It's a dull look. So to get the sand gives them the dull look. I would need to put them in a polish to get that shiny copper look back. But lots of the copper coating is starting to wear. A couple of them it's worn a whole lot, and then the ones that were kind of beat up lost more too. So I'm gonna weigh them and try to figure out what I did wrong, and maybe I'll figure it out. When I'm cornrow hunting pennies, I get these what I call gnarly pennies that won't hardly go through the coin machines. They get kicked out. They're pretty disgusting. And somebody wrote to me and said I should tumble these in my rock tumbler. And I said, that's a great idea. That's what I'm going to do next. There's 70 of them here. I'll look around and see if there's any more. And this will be the next thing I tumble, and we'll see how these come out. Here's what happened when I weighed them. The copper bag started out at 155.6, and after putting in 50 is 154.6, so it lost 1 gram. I put the penny on the bag, and it was over the 155.6, so that obviously that wasn't right because that was the original weight. On the zinc, the original weight was 126.3. With the extra penny in there, it was 124.6, which just under 2 grams it lost, which makes sense because some of the outer layer of copper came off. More so than on the 85% copper. 95% copper coins. And I took out that penny and it was 121, which I think would have made it too low. So I feel certain that I had actually that 1 copper penny, and with the zinc ones probably an 82 or something like that. I don't know. Anyway, it was a 3-day test. It was with some sand and a little bit of grit. And I saw another video just recently where rocks were tested with water, and with one, sand in one, and the grit in one, and the water and the one with water and the one with sand wore down the rocks about the same. The only difference is the sand made the rocks duller looking, which is what we have here. They made them look dull. So, if I want to really see what happens if they really wear, then I want to just put it in with just the grit with no sand. And I may do that later. I may do a whole week and see what happens to them after a complete week. This was just a little over 3 days. Well, there we have it. They're cool looking. They're nice and clean. Especially the copper ones. All right, guys. Thanks a lot.